Welcome back to another painting tutorial. I hope you guys are keeping well. We're just going to do a painting tutorial on a Space Marine Reivers, and we'll just walk through it, how to get simple midtones and highlights with the airbrush and just simple block painting to get these miniatures ready for a tabletop. So let's get started. So now what I'm doing is a base coat of a 2 mix, orange and yellow mix that you see, colors that you see on the screen. 50-50 mix, and I'm just going over it in layers lightly, so I'm getting a good base coat. Once we get that layer, then we mix a bit of white into the mix, a bit more yellow into the mix, I should say, and then we apply that on the high areas, all the raised areas. So we're building up the highlights slowly, and with this yellow we'll start adding more white to create more highlights, extreme highlights on the higher raised areas. And we're just adding more white. Just keep on gradually getting to the highlight that you feel you want. So however you feel comfortable, how much you want to highlight. You can go all the way to really bright. I tend to do it a bit more brighter because in the wash we'll bring it down. But in this instance, we're not going to wash the whole model. It's just the little grooves we'll start washing around the armor. Okay, so you can see here it's all been done, highlighted, and it got a gloss varnish on it for the washes. Now with the wash, we're just using a dark tone and we're going over the edges and the grooves, not over the whole model. So we're just carefully going over all the areas that are grooves and shadowy areas. So just slowly and carefully take your time and just be patient going through the areas and applying the shadows, the washes. Then we'll get Chaos Abaddon black, and we'll paint all the hoses and black areas, all the pockets, knives, and the abdominal area. So it's all base coated black. So for the highlights, what we're going to do is get the 3 colors: black, dark grey, and light grey. Now we're going to mix the black with the dark grey, so you get that mix below. Then we're going to get that existing mix that we just mixed, dark red, dark black and grey, and add light grey to that mix. So we got those 2 new colours at the bottom, and we'll use all of these colours to gradually build up the highlights. So what we're doing here is we're placing a base coat of black. Then on the wet palette, while the paint is wet, we'll quickly get the mid-tone we mixed, and we're just brushing that in towards the edge. Then after that's done, we're getting the lighter mix and brushing that in towards the edge, so you're getting a lighter highlight near the edge. And then we'll just paint, after that's dry, we'll paint the light grey on the edge, so it looks like a build-up of the highlight. So for the chest, we're just using a lead belcher, and we're just painting the swords with lead belcher. And then we'll use Retributor gold for the skull. For the grenade piece on the chest, we'll just paint that with silver around it and the middle bit red, and then the actual grenade at the bottom, that's the same highlight we did for the pockets with grey. So start off with base coat of black and then highlight it grey on the corners. Moving on to the shoulder pad, we'll just paint the trim with red. Simple block colours. Just trying to keep it very simple. For the highlight for the sword cover, it's orange, fiery orange, and it's just watered down. And same way as the grey we highlighted, we'll water down the orange, and then we'll just use the red to blend it back up to the edge. And then the final highlight would be orange on the edges. For the face, we're going to have a base coat of Bugman's Glow, watered down, 3 or 4 layers of that. Let each one dry. Then we'll mix Bugman's Glow with Keslin Flesh, and then we'll go over the raised areas, and then we'll keep building that layer up, and then we'll get Tuscal Fur, and we'll just put that into the shadows to bring out the highlights. So take your time slowly and just have a steady hand and just be patient with this process. After you've done the face, the flesh, then you just base coat black all the way around, and then I used white to highlight the skull part of the head, and then red for the side parts of the head, the mechanical parts, and just highlighted them orange. Right near the end, I was just highlighting the armor. So I'm using yellow first, and then I just mix the yellow with white just to add extreme highlights on the top highest raised areas. So just go around the whole model. I'm just putting highlights over the armor and just adding some metal parts to the gun just to give it a bit more of a mixture instead of just black. So just adding metal where I feel it needs to be. As for the base, I just undercoat it with Vallejo black. Then I give it an undercoat of Abaddon black, let that dry. Dry brush it with a dark grey, and then I move on to a lighter grey. And just add the model onto it. A little mistake I did here. I should have just kept the model on the base because there's a little line on the model at the bottom. There's a holder at the bottom of the model, and I should have used that. Should have put that in and used it for. I should have based the whole model. Little mistake I did on the basing. I should have had the model on the base, so I could have based it all as one. As you can see, the holder of the miniature, it's a little holder at the bottom, and when you stick that in, there's no sand on it, so I had to do that separately. So with these kind of bases where the miniature slots in, you want to do it all together. Rookie mistake. And at the end, just clean up the base by painting Abaddon black around the trim of the base. Okay. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And this is just a very simple way of getting your troops onto the tabletop at a good, decent standard, quite quickly, especially with the airbrush. The main thing about this tutorial was to show you how to get the midtones and highlights on the armor. And then if you can work on about 10 models at a time, you can get an army done pretty quickly. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video. Sign up on my newsletter. If you want more, if you want a free ebook on painting, just a quick guide, and also if you want updates for any new videos coming out. Your support has been great. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you in the next video.